Hey guys, welcome back to the Nesian Money Show. My name is Joe Swami, and today we've got a couple of very special guests, two brothers who we've helped into home ownership over the last few years, but we've also become good friends, and we chat regularly on the phone. As you all know, this platform here is all about empowering our Pacific family in the areas of money and finance, and we do that by sharing stories of people from our community who've walked their journeys whether it be a profession or home ownership or any area of life where it'll empower us in these areas. But so today, guys, we've got my brother Izzy here. He's co-hosting with us today.
Yo.
And the special guest that we have here today is James and Malingi Lesui. Hi, guys. Welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Boys. Well, what a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Can you please tell us a little bit about yourself and where have you grown up?
Yeah. I'll go first, huh? We kind of grew up in the same place anyway.
Born in different countries.
Are you two brothers or cousins?
Brothers. Oh. Yeah.
What do you mean born in two different countries? I like stories.
No, we were brought up in Darwin Chill when we first. I was born in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And then I came here back in 1993. Mm-hmm. And we went straight into like the Canterbury area, around Darwin Chill area and whatnot, and we stayed there until I finished high school, pretty much.
Yep.
And then obviously because of rent and whatnot, it sort of pushed us out further and further west. And we ended up in Bankstown, and then rent again, moved out again, further and further, Greenacre, and then eventually we were in Liverpool, like around Warwick Farm area. And then I got married, had a kid, moved out to Canley Heights, and these guys ended up moving to Moorebank. So...
How many siblings in the family? So there's a few of you. There's 4 of you, I think.
No, there's 5 of us.
Oh, okay.
I'm the oldest. Yep. 4 boys. So there's myself, Malingi, and then under me there's in between us actually there's 2 boys, which is Edmund and Ben.
Yep.
And then there's our baby sister Hope. So she's the youngest.
Edmund and Ben. What do Edmund and Ben do?
You want to talk about Ben?
Yeah, so Ben, he's the brother that's right above me in terms of age. He is currently an accountant. We actually both worked at the same place previously. But yeah, he's an accountant now. He's been around in the accounting world in a career quite a while now. So that's what he's been doing. He's been doing it for, I think, 4 or 5 years.
Yep.
Yeah, and he's a very academic type of guy.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, I heard he earns the big bucks. He's a BHP. Oh, yes, I probably shouldn't say that. No secrets in that.
Was that BP?
BHP.
The petrol station.
I'll be serious. I'll be But wow, that's awesome. So he's above you.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And then Edmund, you got.
And then Edmund, he's the one that's on the big bucks. Yeah.
Oh,
so
okay.
He's he lives down in Wollongong.
Yeah.
He bought a house years ago down there, and then with his wife. Then he had his kid down there as well. And then they moved down. I was a while back there, but he sold that place, bought another place, and since then he sold his second place and bought massive land down there. So, yeah.
Man. So, a family of accountants, because your mum's in accounting as well, yeah? Shucks, these guys, scholars, eh?
Yeah. Mum's an accountant, Edmund's a financial accountant, and these guys all...
What are you doing, Malingi? You're in...
Yeah, well, currently I started at my first finance role. Yeah. I'm a loan specialist now.
Wow.
So just, learning.
Another loan specialist guy.
I was inspired by someone by the names of Joe to kind of take on, the finance industry. And it's been really rewarding, very hard. Yes. Definitely hard. It's been a shocker, but I like it.
Before this, you had quite a high paying job, eh? You were in sales in alarm systems. You were selling alarm systems, yeah?
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that role and like what were you doing there? And but let's go back. Did you study for it? were you at uni or did you go to uni?
Yeah, so I started uni in 2016. I didn't graduate until 2021. But yeah, I studied originally a Bachelor's of Business Administration and Sports Science.
Oh, wow.
Back when I was fit. But then when I dropped the fit and got the fat, I actually dropped that Sports Science degree.
Yeah.
And then I just went and pursued the business. Now, from there, I started at Prism Cables.
Yeah.
Maybe shouldn't say the company, but I don't.
We're just dropping names here.
We're just dropping names at VP. So I worked at a cable company as a sales, and then I moved to that security place where I started selling security systems.
Yeah, it was quite a good pay structure, right? Because they had like it was your base salary, and then the sales commissions was ridiculous, right? Like
It was ridiculous. I think I was making almost not just double my salary, but almost triple.
Yeah, wow. So sales is.
Sales where it's at.
The name Lesui, the Samoan name Lesui. Where does that come from? Do you know like the roots of it in Samoa?
Oh, till this day, it's debatable, man. We looked into it, and we like it's always been around in Samoa. They reckon it's
Is that French?
It's an originally
Like
Les It could be.
Was that champagne?
We actually don't really know. The only history we have about it is that it's from Samoa. We're probably the only Lesotho family in the whole world too. So
No way, really?
yeah, there's no other Lesothos around the world. If you are in Lesotho, you're probably related to us. So
Oh wow.
yeah.
And do you know which place in Samoa? Like where's your family's at? Like your parents?
Yeah,
family?
man. My dad's from Whaleasi'u, in Upolu, in Samoa, and my mum is from Manonotai. So Manonotai is like there's about 4 islands in Samoa. There's other ones, but inhabitable. And then 2 main islands that everyone hears of, Upolu and Savai, and then there's 2 smaller islands in the middle, which is Apolima and Manono. And so my mum comes from one of those smaller islands, but yes, my dad.
Is it close to the place where that New Zealand ship got taken down? No, you guys didn't hear about that?
No.
I must have just seen
that
it.
recent?
Oh, yeah. No, literally last 2 days I seen it on the news.
No.
Yeah, it got
Samoa?
it ended up on the coral.
Oh no.
And then, yeah. And then they couldn't get it out, and then ended up they had to abandon ship, and then it burnt down, exploded, and everything. And yeah,
Only
just the Navy.
Yeah, the Navy.
They did like a rescue.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I saw this.
So the community came to their help.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
But sorry, for your parents, right? Obviously, you guys all all just want to get into education and accounting and what do you do?
Look, I'm a disability support worker.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like
So your parents, obviously, what's their background? What do they do, or did they always education is important? Did they push you hard at school and everything?
100%, man. Education was everything. Like we always ask our parents, why didn't you buy a house back in the day? You should have bought a house. It was a lot cheaper. In fact, the house that we were brought up in Darwood Hill, we were offered something around 250 to 300,000 to buy it back in the day. It's now worth 2.8 million.
Wow, yeah.
That very house we were brought up in. So money talks, property works. But
Well, like that one. Money talks, property works.
My parents always pushed us to have a good education, and that's why they said, we'd rather put you through private school than buy a house. And essentially, at the end of the day, we ended up buying a house, and they live with us.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
So worked out in their favour, I guess.
100%.
Yeah,
I think most of everyone in our community would do that, eh?
Yeah.
Parents, no, you can just stay at home. It's all good. We carried you here.
No, it's good, man. It's like to my parents. My dad is a pastor.
Oh wow.
He's currently in hospital. He's fighting cancer. At the moment. But he's all right. Yeah. And mum is an accountant. As you said before, mum's an accountant. So mum's very high on the educational side, whereas my dad's very high on the spiritual side.
Yeah.
Wow.
Getting that balance.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
100%.
So church is a big part of life growing up?
Church, man.
Yeah.
God
Still is now to this day?
everything, bro.
Yeah.
God is everything, man. Even buying the house and whatnot, God was at the center of that.
Has to be, yeah. I think.
Without God, I don't think this would have happened, man.
I mean, I always ask myself, how did it happen? You know, like it's a dream that I never thought that would come true. Something that I doubted when my mom was pushing for it like 3 years ago. And when it actually happened, I was like, nothing but God.
Oh, it was funny because me and you started Jansen put us together, right? So this is how this all started. Well, it would be good to talk about this, right? So I helped somebody out, Jansen, and these two, they work together. And he goes, "Oh, call this guy. You guys will talk exactly the same, right? Do the bank stuff. Hey, brother, baby, what do you have?" And then because initially when you came, it took about a year, right, before we could get into a position, or was it about 8 months, 9 months?
Yeah, once I connected with Jan's the man, bro. Yeah. And I thank God for that guy every day.
Shout out to Jans.
Yeah, shout out to Jans, bro. But he sort of said, he really instilled in me that it was possible to do this. So he was already obviously a homeowner and whatnot. And then he goes, "Oh, I know this guy. You know, you got to get onto him. He's Joe and this and that." So we got onto the conversation and got on the phone, and then you were like, "Yeah, nah, you're not ready yet, bro."
Yeah. But that's what it is, eh? Because normally people stop at that. Like our community, it's easy to when someone says no, just give up, eh? But you had credit issues, like you from previous debts that you had on your file, but it's something we worked through and we're able to overcome. But he always kept telling me about you, but I was like, "Don't worry, I want to get my brother, gotta get my lingy to get on this line." But I didn't know that you wanted it as much as him too. So it was like when it happened, it was like you said, like God, and but they like in terms of procedure. It's just the time, like the length of time it took. It's not. Sometimes it doesn't happen quickly, and you had to save the deposit, which. Luckily for you, had done a lot of the saving, and putting you two together, just made everything work. But just in terms of process, like how was the process for you? Do you remember how everything
well, it's over a year ago now, but we after that phone call, and then you gave me some tips on what to do. And then the time frame in which I need to get back to, because I was really keen on getting into property, and then I spoke to my brother. He didn't believe me, this guy. He was like, "Nah, this is..."
I was very skeptical.
What scam are you up to now?
James has been known for that for the longest.
What are you up to now, mate? But I said, "Look, it's legit. Like, we can do this. Like, we can actually do this. We can buy a house." We set up mum and dad. The reason why we wanted to buy a house, sorry to go off topic, was I had seen my mum clean up the rental property, and bro, she cleaned it from top to bottom, and I was just like, bro, why is mum doing this? And she's getting old. It's not too old, but she's getting old, and I felt really bad that mum had to always, every time someone, the owner had to sell their property because they went for a divorce. Yeah. And so my mum's, cleaning this house. And even that, I think they still got charged a bit of the bond, And I said to Malingi, I said, bro, mum's she's never going to go through that ever again, The only last time would be when we move out of that rental property. And so... Okay, we made it happen. But that's the reason. That was the push, I really, felt for my mum and my dad too, but being able to put it all together and make the dream a reality, that was everything, right? So, I forgot the original question.
That was good, man.
With our Pacific Island families,
that's awesome.
It's a thing that we can all do, right? Because most of us live together and rent together, as Pacific Islanders, right? Yeah. But something that I'm surprised that not more of us buy together.
Yeah, I know.
Make it work.
I guess it's lucky for us because the government made it possible for brothers to buy, siblings. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they changed that rule. Yeah.
So, what was that rule?
It was just
Yeah, for the first home loan deposit scheme, the mortgage insurance waiver, it could only be part like a couple, but couldn't be siblings. But they allowed siblings after because I think the property prices kept going up to like how can we get
And it's
more?
still allowed now?
Still allowed now,
Still
siblings,
allowed,
and I think they let friends too.
Friends now.
Yeah,
so.
I'm telling you, it's all God's timing, right?
Yeah, I know, right?
It
But
all
now
fell
it's
into
friends
place.
for like $1 million.
But it's such a great idea though, because yes, we do all live on top of each other.
Yeah.
Everyone's working, everyone's paying your own bills, you got a car, everyone,
Yeah.
when you're all kids, there was only mum and dad's car. Now everyone's got a car on the street.
Literally.
So it is a great idea, and for you two to do that, especially for your parents, man. That story just got me.
But it's mostly family, for us. Like our community is all about family. So it's like about just taking it to the next level. The next level is the financial well-being, because I think we talk about like falava that's like a Samoan term,
That's
right?
the
What does
worst word you
fal?
could say.
Is that how you say it? Falava?
Yeah.
Plastic.
Let's get the rundown on what a falava.
I think you say it better than I do.
For our Australian audience. What is? Can you explain a little bit about what falava is and what?
Well, I think the best person to probably explain the experience would be James, but
I'm going to flick past this one over there.
but love it. It's essentially like when something happens within the family, like it could be like either a wedding, birthday, a funeral, anything of that sort. And I feel like all our other people can like relate to that, and then we have to send money back home. I think I've sent nothing. He's sent everything. I mean, I was too young. I think James has like 10 years on me. But yeah, you want to...
You look good for 10 years.
Yeah.
Well, 10 years apart, we look the same.
The fun we love is like, a lot of people hate it, bro, to be honest with you. And a lot of, I guess in my generation and even younger, they despise it, They don't want to, give, because you're always giving, but it's a beautiful thing when you you peel it all back. It's literally, sorry, bro, I'm about to pull the mic out. It's literally your family working together for one cause.
Yes. Yeah.
So like I might not have $4,000, but I might have 1,000. You might have 1,000. You might have 1,000. You might have 1,000. Now we got enough for $4,000 for whatever we're spending on. So it's all about working together.
Yeah.
And your little plus my little bit equals a big, big thing, which is if you bring the love
Concept.
model concept
into
your own families,
100%.
bro, that could work, So,
Buying a home.
We've been talking about this. Like we're new to money. Like our community is new to money. Like 150 years ago, we were bartering, trading.
Yeah, that's right.
We were farming. We were eating off the land. Money in the Jewish and the English system's been around for thousands of years. So it's a new concept for us, but maybe discussing these concepts in the way that we're using and transferring it 100%. to the Western way, is probably like how what we're trying to highlight, and like, but it's not a bad thing. And I think if we're more financially wealthy, like in our like here, like in our homes, like if we've got our masks on, like the analogy we use, you got to put your own mask on first before and put other people's masks on, It's like but it's I like the way you explained it, man. The way you just explained that concept.
What do you think sort of stops us from getting to that stage?
Oh yeah, could be many things.
I would say overcommitting.
Yeah,
overcommitting to the family needs and not your own. One thing that I've seen just looking at my older siblings is, the struggles they had to go through because they just gave. I think when James first started his job, his first ever job, he was giving his entire paycheck to our parents. That would never happen with me, but I'm grateful that, through his struggles, my parents were able to see, okay, maybe this is not the best way because we're not investing the money in the right way that would help us in grow in the future. Yeah,
and your parents were born in Samoa?
Both born in Samoa.
So relatively, that's pretty much first generation, and you guys are second generation, so they're still very heavily tied to the traditional way, the cultural
yeah,
ways.
That's right.
But they want this, like, oh, we've come here to give our kids this life, but like still, and I think it does take time, bro. I don't think it's something that's that you can expect them not to ever feel like not doing, but it's maybe just slowly, you know, somehow.
But I guess that whole thing, you know, with the older people in our lives, you know, I've experienced the same thing where, you know, we've come over here, we've earned a bit, but yes, we're providing for us, but majority of what dad's earning would go back to Fiji for certain things, you know. So I've seen that with my mates, some boys growing up with them at school. They'd be like, "Oh, I've got to do this. I've got to send money overseas," and I'm like, "How much are you sending?" It's like, we're sending. They give me the number. I'm like, okay, bro, what do you mean? That's a lot. Because for the church, for this and that, and I was like, oh, okay. I'm glad I done.
You get the cousins that call you randomly, and probably used to.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Every now and
One of the cousins asked for a phone, an Apple iPhone, the other day. I was like, relax. I got iPhone.
To be honest, it is difficult over here, guys. Like, you know, we are. I think at the end of the day, money doesn't grow on trees, eh? So, you know, we're working 2, 3, 4 jobs. Some people, just to the cost of living. It's just
Cost of living.
the cost of living.
We're
crazy.
living in we're literally living though in days that our parents prayed for.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
we have these things. We look around. You know, we
Yeah.
have everything that we have, and it's because of their sacrifice.
Yep.
You know, I could never really blame them.
Yeah.
Oh, mate. When you
when you're young,
pass up a $300,000 house, it turns into 2.8. Maybe.
But they didn't know, you know, and then
would you
at that time it wasn't.
They just didn't know any better.
Yeah.
No
But then
one's
who do you
taught
trust
them.
as well, you know, at that time?
Well,
like,
that's
they
right.
moved here. Did you grow up with other family members or anything like that, or was it just you guys?
No.
I mean, we
always
had
have
my other older brother Edmund, who was in property first, but we never really looked to him.
Yeah.
We kind of, like, the way that me and James have operated was that we've just kind of went in blind,
Yes.
right? And we do it ourselves, especially James. Like, he was the reason that we house because he pushed me, you know, and he reached out to you, got connected. So that's kind of what the.
But I felt your skepticism when you used to call me. So I used to think in my head, oh, how do I do, like, I know James is leading this thing, but then my lingy is a little bit like, sussing out this guy. Hey, what are you doing with my money? But it was like, but I knew you wanted to from having spoken to you. But yeah, I felt your skepticism maybe because of why didn't you go reach out to your brother? Why was it difficult? I can cut this out later if you.
No, I'm an open book. To be honest, for me, I don't honestly like relying on many people or anyone. I like being self-reliant, but it's kind of like a blessing and a curse in a way. You know, sometimes we need to rely on like family members, but I think me and James have just always had an individualistic mindset where we will do everything ourselves. You know, so that's my experience.
So, but you also the oldest boy, yeah?
Yeah.
And then the youngest boy. So that connection, and then it missed the middle.
Missed the other two.
Missed the middle, bro. That's interesting.
The other two, they had already moved out, so they do their own thing. Like Ben, you know, lives sort of near the city, and he's just done his own thing. He lives with a couple of mates, and you know, never really. His mind was never really in property, and you know. And Ed already, he was well and truly set up already. Yeah. So
Beautiful.
yeah, if it wasn't Malingi, we're in trouble. Yeah,
I love it. I did. Oh, sorry, mate. It's a good thing we cut things out.
With the brothers. Oh yeah. So with your brothers, right? What is it? Family, parents, brothers. Yeah, the journey. What else? What else can we talk about, guys?
I think we never answered the question on the process.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy is that when you messaged us this morning, I actually scrolled back up because you messaged us in the thread that was from last year, and I saw James suggesting properties for us to go look at to you. And he just threw me back. And James, as we were walking here, we were in the car, he goes, wow, like one of the last times we were here, you know, we were in a position where we didn't have a house.
Yeah.
It was so exciting though. You know, the entire process through it was so tough.
Yes.
Very, very tough. But it was exciting.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Because it went so fast for me that time from now till then. Because I think when I was speaking to you guys, we were always, we weren't even talking about the property. We were talking about how we're going to help our community members. Look, we can do it. Look, it's possible, man. Look, you got to find some people you can trust. You were talking about trust.
Yeah, I think being skeptical
that's
about it in the first place. So definitely you need to build that trust, and because you're not back then, you weren't very out there, you know, on social media or anything like that. I don't know with your advertising or anything like that.
Yeah, still not really at the moment. It's more like very intimate relationships, but we do need more of us, and that's like me is encouraging. Yeah. And maybe part of that is this platform, you know, is by the encouragement to encourage, like, let our people see us doing this, like. Talking about money, buying property, sorting out our finances, insurance, you know. But yeah, I'm just glad that how do I the connection, right? When we talk, you know, when you're talking about trust, I think people in our industry in this occupation have a bad rep, right?
Yeah.
Is it because of church, like people taking money from church, or is it just in general? Like, what is it with Pacific Islanders and money? Like,
well, like you said, we've only done this for 150 years, you know. Like, why would I trust a guy that's only done it for 150 when it's a guy that's done it for 1,000, you know? But I guess there's just no big name out there to sort of really kickstart it and do it really well and market it really well.
Yeah.
But I think there are 100%. There's so many good people out there that do it. You know, yourself. You know, just so. Like I just think it's. It takes.
Why?
A lot
Why
to
do you think
trust.
a brown brother, like, you know, our poly brothers are scared? Like, I think there are, like, I've started to connect in groups where there's insurance advisors, there's other Pacific Island mortgage brokers, but no one's really. I don't know if they're really helping too many others in our community. And I don't know why. What is that? The gap, you know? Is it?
I think it's it kind of goes back to perhaps the stereotype that we're only good for one certain industry or we're only good for one certain task, but we're not a monolithic group. You know, we're not that type of community. We are so diverse.
Yes.
And when we work on those talents and work on those individuals, that's when we can see what comes to fruition. Like, man, it's amazing to see the amount of talents we've got in our community. It's like such as yourself. I'm like, you know, everyone looks at us as like, oh, you're a rugby player, you know, you're a forklift driver, you know. It's the stereotype, but you could be a rugby player and you could be a forklift driver. Regardless, you can still be a property owner, you can still be financially literate. So it's just that connection.
And I guess because you're in the industry now, you're probably seeing all types of occupations, right? That's coming through.
That's right.
This guy works in the warehouse on 30 grand. Just buy 2 houses. You know, so like
That's
that stereotype, I guess, of us being the heavy lifters or the warehouse workers, the blue collar jobs.
Yeah. I don't think, once we break that wall down and we realize ourselves, hey, I want to help someone that looks like me. You know, that's for me, like James said, you know, parents was a big part of his inspiration. And I know both of our biggest inspirations was the kids.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
I love his kids so much. I call them my own. And that's what kind of drives me. You know? But yeah, when you look at someone that looks like you want to help them.
No, you know, these like expect it for, you know, like the expectation to help. You know, that these guys have got no money, but I don't know, getting out of that mindset, you know, because you go to a lawyer, you got to pay. You go to but I don't know, is that part of the reason, do you think, that?
I think a lot of people are scared.
Yeah.
Fear. Fear. Is it? Yeah, just fear.
I think
Not
they're just
knowing.
scared or complacent. I think a lot of people are just comfortable where they're at. And they're more than happy, you know, like we spoke about earlier, like when they work together, it's many hands make a lot work. And so they don't mind it in a rental environment. What they don't know is they could do it in, you know, mortgage, you know, like ownership environment.
Yes.
In which, you know, we're now talking about generational wealth as opposed to, you know what I mean? Like just normal rent. Because when you rent, I know it's dead money, but like at the same time, it's probably all they could afford. So that's another thing is they probably think that it's impossible. They're comfortable, yeah, but maybe impossible to buy a house. It's too bro, the news is just scaring everyone. This area is 1 million, this area is 1 million. So
yeah, I think the media plays a massive role in discouraging young home buyers or just any home buyers really.
Yeah. How do you see it, Joe? How do you see that with the news and?
The doom and gloom, man. Don't buy the hype. Yeah, they sell the news and buy the hype. So but just don't listen to the news if you can. Like it would be good to have someone they could call or people a community where you can go to and ask someone they can trust. I think trust is the big one in our community, or fear, scared, because like you said, we haven't been doing this for long. So how many brown faces are there that you could go, hey Joe, or poly home loans, I want to ask a question and feel confident to ask it, without feeling like, oh shame, I don't want to ask that question. Because
I think that's also a thing. You're so scared and so embarrassed about asking a question that you're like, oh, everyone's going to be judging me for just or you're judging yourself as well. But I think at the end of the day, it's a mirror too. You're seeing yourself and go, oh God, I don't want to look at my finances, my anything, and it's just like, and it's scary, but you got to do it.
Yeah, I'm probably the worst one. Joe knows how bad my finances are.
But I'm excited about our generation, like you guys, like we're the next generation now. We're coming through. I'm excited, bro, because the way we're, like the mentality when you talk, I'm like, yeah, bro, these guys are on, man. Watch out for their kids, man. They're taking over Western Sydney. These are gonna be our apartments. These are gonna be our buildings.
So what are your? I guess you don't have to go into details about it, but what's your future goal, like within property and things like that? So,
we actually, ever since owning a property, we probably talk about it on a weekly basis.
Oh, nice, man. That's awesome. Wow. We should put you on the podcast every week. And I like the way you articulate things.
In front of the kids, everyone, like in the house? Like it's not like we're over here having a chat as adults?
Actually, it's just us. It's just us two.
Yeah. It's more like just us two. It's just like we always check on the value of our property. Like, I don't know, we should say it. I mean, our property was $875. We bought it for $875. We changed it to, it was a 4-bedroom house. We changed one of the living rooms into another bedroom.
Yeah, nice.
And we updated that. And then if you go on realestate.com now, it's on like 962.
Yeah. Wow, in less than a year, right?
Less than a year.
Wow, that's awesome, man.
Sort of almost skyrocketed, really. 87 grand or something. No one else will come and go.
Give you that, it's like a whole year to work, and then to get that,
So
that's the power of leverage.
I think to that question, like my future plan would be to own more property, eventually try to move from residential to commercial. Just keep going. I want to be able to
You're still young.
I feel like age is catching up to me, but might be just my weight. But so I think after the commercial space, I want to be able to provide again that generational wealth, financial freedom. I don't want, like, it might sound a bit selfish, but I want to be able to establish myself first so that I can start taking care of my family. Even my brother, or my brothers who are not involved in property, like if they need to lean on me, here's the shoulder.
Wow, awesome. But I think 4 of you could be a fierce team, man. The 4 Lesui brothers could do some damage out there, man. Like if you combine, but it just only takes 2 of you. You guys have started the process, so it's sort of like totally up from here,
had we not started it, we would never have these conversations. We're talking about, should we knock down and rebuild?
Should we buy next door's house?
We're going to take over the whole suburb.
Exactly.
So where else do you look to for education? Like, when you're having these conversations, what do you, because you're in the industry now, so it's awesome. You're just around it all the time. So.
I'm around it all the time, but I think even way before that, I was watching a lot of YouTube content on any ways to save, whether that be through flights, the Qantas flight points or anything like that. Every single way that I could find to save.
YouTube's like the new university,
Yeah.
YouTube, like,
Yeah, it's
even
the
like
best.
just social media, like you learn so much of it. You know what I mean? The older you get, the more you realize what to filter out and whatnot,
Yes.
and then just take what you need. And there's so much like available information. We're in a generation now where information is so accessible.
Yep.
You know, sometimes over information.
Yeah,
But,
it's
you know,
learning to
but
filter, eh?
Yeah,
That's-
you just filter out the bad and then use the good, and then use that good. Don't just sit on it. Don't save it. You know, like, and then just forget about it. But actually do it. You know, use it. Like if you see a good video, act on it.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's a religious point of view or whether it's a property or life. You know, so,
I agree, man.
yeah. It was so much accessible information these days.
Did you wish you started sooner, or I mean,
100.
or getting to this point was a journey, and you look back and it's like, was it sort of you needed to go through that to get to here?
Oh,
You know what I mean?
look, I was bankrupt before, right?
Yeah.
Before I got into property, and then. Oh, not really bankrupt. I was like half bankrupt.
Yeah. You had a
but
default
it,
listing.
It was bad.
Yeah.
But like had I not gone through that, I probably would have never come out
Yeah.
the way I did. You know, because I was blacklisted for 5 years, and in those 5
Was
years,
it a Part 9 agreement?
Part 9.
It was a Part 9. And, this is
What's a
one
Part
thing I
9
really
now?
want to talk about is a Part 9. It's like part of the Bankruptcy Act.
Yeah.
And it's something that I think the debt companies negotiate with whoever's lent you the money, and they get a percentage of what they negotiate. So if they sell the debt,
Okay.
and then usually it's one of these Fox Symes or one of these other companies. They buy the debt off, say NZ, and then they chase it from you. But the legal way to do it is sign a Part 9 agreement.
Yeah.
And then it's probably not the best thing because it comes under the Bankruptcy Act, and that doesn't look good on
right.
your credit file. And I'd recommend to anyone before looking at a Part 9 agreement, like, have a look at your other options. Give us a call to explore other options, because
100%.
usually when you sign a Part 9, it's really I feel like, in my opinion,
Yep.
that they're just trying to make money from you, which is it's easier for the bank to sell it to them, to let the debt company chase you, than for them to handle it. The admin costs and the compliance. But then the other company just wants to make. It's a business, but it's it affects you it really affects you. 7
it
years.
did, and then I couldn't touch anything for 5 years. You know what I mean? Well, it's probably a good thing because like otherwise I would have got a rangy or something. You know, but it was a blessing in disguise, to be honest, because then it really set me back, and I was a year into it, and then I found out that I could have done this, could have done that.
Yeah.
I was like, man, like I should have.
Oh, that's all right. Like you said, God's time, right? God's plan, God's time.
Man.
And if you're a believer, that's that's all part of it. That's how it works.
Yeah, 100%. And during that time, anyway, like I just nutted down and I said, man, I really want this house.
Yes.
Like I really want, then seeing mum go through all of that, and then like dad being crook and stuff, and then it was like, I really want this house. And so you just nut it down. You just do research. Like research is everything, man.
Yes.
Like you gotta want it. If you don't want it, it's just like anything, really. But spent those 4 years of learning from it, and then like the last year I called you.
Yeah, nice.
And you're like, oh yeah, man, not yet, bro.
Yeah. Wow.
And then came out of it.
I think for the longest that I can remember, James always wanted to be in property. Like he always wanted to own a house. But it kind of goes back to that father lovely thing that we're talking about, where he's given so much, invested so much money back in the islands, where he's now in debt, and he's gone through that bankruptcy stage out of love.
Yes.
And I told James, I was like, we really need to work on that when you come out of that, because we can't have this happen again. And to your question, you mentioned like, do I wish I had started sooner? I feel like everyone wished they would have started sooner. Like I myself probably can definitely admit I would have never been able to start sooner. But it was all in that time. I wish my parents started sooner, bought that house. Yeah. But yeah.
That's amazing, man. I like the way your guys' bond is, and I think a lot of our community, like our brother, like there's a lot of us brothers and sisters who have these bonds, but to make it work in a financial way, not only in the family way, but in a financial way.
How was your honesty and your straight down talk with that? You know, all right, we're going
What's
to
the
buy a
age gap?
house.
What's the age gap?
Like 10
10
years.
years.
How old are you?
Wow, you're a baby, bro. Look at this guy. I was probably a millionaire.
Talking about getting old already.
We can say his big brother. A good big brother. It's helpful to have a good big brother.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I guess, you know, you had to be honest with each other when you did come out of it.
Yeah.
So how was that? And was it a tough conversation?
No, not really.
Yeah.
Or not from my part, at least. He just said, "Bro, don't get back into debt, man. Like, I need you more, just as much as you need me." And I said, "Yeah, that's true. Like, we need each other. Especially during the environment that we were in and the market that we're in as well. It's better to work together." And so, it wasn't really too hard. But I guess I can imagine that being hard for other people and whatnot. But you won't know until you have those conversations.
Yep.
Like, just take a bite and speak out and speak
Well,
to each other.
I'm definitely going to speak out. I'm going to definitely be honest. I was really concerned about James.
What a nice little brother.
I
bro.
still am
What a nice
concerned.
little-
You know, I was like, you can't be bringing those ways into it. So I had to be, extremely stern and like with him because he's always happy chappy, and I'm like, you need to break through that. So I was very direct, especially when we were organizing the finances for the house. It's like, come on, you need to bring everything to the table as well, just as much as I'm bringing.
Yeah, I like the dynamic you guys have, but because I think it works, man. And then your respect for each other, in terms of your roles, like as big brother and as a younger brother, there's like a bond, and I think it's good, man. It's special.
Yeah.
It's rare to find. So it's good on you, man.
There's a Samoan word, and my dad always used to say it to me. It's called "whaamai paepa," and "whaamai paepa" pretty much means like to shade. You know what I mean? And he goes, "Because you're the oldest, bro.
Yes.
Your siblings."
I feel that from you. I see it happening.
You have to be the shade for them, like where they can rest, where they can, what I mean?
What's that word again?
Whaamai paepa.
Wow.
Yeah,
Don't tell me to repeat that.
To bring yourself down, I don't know if that's the real meaning, really.
No, that's awesome.
But to
No,
bring yourself down to a level where you can have a discussion, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, just because you're older doesn't mean you're right.
Well, this is one of the things in our this is one of the things in our community, right? The older people,
The
right?
older people
We have
respect your elders. I grew up.
What is up with that? Like, I don't know.
I mean, growing up with all my brothers being older than me, I was always known as the
youngest.
annoying one, the one that was so disrespectful. And there were many times I overstepped, even until like now, I rarely overstep, with my boundaries with my brother. Boundaries was the thing that I really needed to instill with my siblings, and myself. I understand that he has boundaries, and if I'm going over that, it's not going to make him feel good, and I don't want him to not feel good because it's not going to make me feel good. But every time I did overstep, he'd keep me in check. It's like, okay.
Sometimes the shade has to be Shaolin master.
That's it. Little sasa.
But in our community, respect is a big thing, with elders. Like it's just like a norm, And have you ever said "I love you" to your parents? Like before growing up, do you remember ever saying "I love you" to your parents?
He has.
He has.
I also say it all the time, but it's different.
He has. To be honest, man, my dad had never said "I love you" to me.
Yeah. But they love you. Like we know that.
I didn't need to. I
we
didn't
didn't
need
need
to.
it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I knew he loved me. You
That's
know what
it.
I mean? Like my mum was always like nice. She was always I love you, son. Like, she would always say. But my old man was old school, man. Like, he still is old school.
Nice. It's all the way.
So.
But like that's what I was saying. Like now, I don't know. Yeah, that's just I think it's just a generation. Like now we're coming into a new generation.
Yeah.
So now you say it to your kids all the time. Like it's
Can't say
nothing.
it
Like
enough.
But sometimes what was the? Because I was just saying the gap when we're thinking about our parents. Why didn't they buy that house? Why didn't they?
Yeah.
But this is sort of like that. It's just culturally different, like traditionally different.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't be something that. If a younger person's watching, why doesn't they say it to grandpa? Like, I love. Why doesn't grandpa tell dad I love you? We didn't need to.
They didn't even call them mum and dad. They just called them by their first name. Wow, old people.
But yeah, man. So you did a little bit of, you'd studied, but during COVID, you were PT, right? You're doing PT and you're doing some videos. So you're doing musical and sporty.
Yeah.
I want to know more.
I was doing a lot of music growing up. I mean, I was heavily involved in the church band. I took a break during COVID and eventually came back to church. And
were you the lead vocal or?
for the most part of the songs,
You and your sister sing, yeah? Or
Not my sister. She's horrible at music. But the rest of us, all the boys, were all musicians, and it's just kind of been like the third language that we speak to each other. You know, Samoan English and then music.
Wow.
You know, and it's just been so good. It's been a great way to communicate and express ourselves, especially when we've had a heavy day. What I do is I would go home and I would sing my lungs out.
Wow.
Put you on the spot.
We'll do the dinner grace.
No, I love it.
But with sports, like the sports science side, what made you sort of give that up, or are you still? Is that something you still want to do in the future, or?
I think a lot of my ambitions were driven when I was a younger age. It was driven by my mum, what she wanted for me, and the sports science part was what I wanted to do because I've always grown up being a chubby kid, and just to dap a little into that, I always felt like unwanted from so many people as like friends or even like possible partners. I felt so unwanted, so I went and I was actually bullied for like a good year in high school, and that kind of like changed things around, and I was like, you know what, I want to prove you guys wrong. It was that self-belief that I could prove them wrong by losing weight that's carried and transcended through my entire adulthood to get to the point where I am now. So I got to thank my younger self for that. But yeah, back to that point, it's mum that's kind of like driven it. Now I'm working back into getting into sports. You're never too old to do that.
I guess as you get older, you just want to stay healthy, right? So it's good to have those core, foundational habits and knowledge and educate, you know what to do. Basically, now it's just up to you.
I think I told you, Joe, last time I was like, once I get this house, it's time to focus on the weight. It's almost been a year and I'm still the same size.
It takes a year.
It takes time.
It takes time. Like this podcast, it's been taking a while.
Food is another thing, right? For us too, food, man. I'll go
very big.
It's a big thing, but I don't know if it's a good thing, right? We use food to celebrate everything, as most cultures, but I don't know. I went out to, I shouldn't say the name, Mount Druitt, and I felt like they were just serving, it was just all fat, and all the food they were serving, and it's for us as a community to be better in that area as well,
Yeah, there needs to be more restaurants.
We love it. I know.
There needs to be more options.
We've got Fiji Day this weekend, so it's down in Liverpool, I think.
It is. Yeah, Liverpool.
Yeah.
What are we doing this weekend?
I want to check that out.
Saturday and Sunday.
We just come out for those cream buns to Campbelltown. Have you guys been there? That Fiji curry shop out in Campbelltown?
Yeah, it's nice.
Next to the train station.
Yeah, the bakery there.
The bakery, the bakery of the pies.
How come you've never taken me there? I am the transport guy.
Literally.
Have you guys thought about doing any kind of business together as well, or anything like that, or is it just going to go into property?
Look, I'm in the middle of starting up a business. Not sure if I should say it really.
No, you can just generalize if you want. Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, looking to exports and whatnot. Looking to go into with my cousin. He's already got trucks and whatnot, so he wants to do sort of container work and sort of send overseas. And really, I actually while on that, I had a mentor that said to me, I didn't know what I was doing as a youngster, and I said, I don't know what I want to do, man. And he goes, the easiest way to know what you want to do is if you focus on what you already know and what you already love. And he goes, what do you love? And he goes, I can already tell it's rugby and church. And he goes, in both of those industries are people. And so there must be a love for people that you have. And you're very proud Samoan boy. So maybe you should do something that serves Samoan, serve Samoans and whatnot. So like years later now, that was probably 10 years ago, you know. I think back on it and I'm
planted a seed.
Damn, now that I'm looking at doing containers and sort of jumping on, helping our people out. And there is a couple of guys do it. There were a few before that and they didn't do it really well. Didn't go to plan, but hopefully we can get it started and done well. But that's on my part, and that's just one of the things.
I guess that whole mind change and just seeing what you can do with buying a property has obviously inspired you to
100%. Like,
and then your dreams started to come out.
The dreams are linking out, right?
All these ideas,
the confidence, and that's part of our slogan, building financial confidence in the Pacific community and businesses, like Pacific business and Pacific families.
Yeah, that's right.
I think a lot of people just get scared because of not knowing, but you don't have to be a professional, even if you're labouring or anything like that. It's still, you're already in an industry where you can see, okay, what are the opportunities here? And then, like we spoke to Roman back, one of the boys on the last podcast, he was working for a, what do you call it?
Metal company, a mining
company. But through the agencies, and then from there, met people, just worked his ass off, and then, and then
work hard,
and he got into a position, and he had a mentor, and it doesn't matter where you're at, you can start to you're able to have a business, you're able to buy a home, so it's I think it's a great thing.
It's possible.
100%.
And you're talking about, there's other people who do it in the industry, like you said. There's other, some boys or whoever, some families that do it. But it's all about disruption, right? All the businesses that come in and disrupt, they usually provide better service, do it better quality, cheaper, or serve more people. Basically, the idea is to serve as many people as you can. Is from what you've said, I've started you got to serve as many people as you can.
Yeah.
If you want to be,
that's
yourself.
Right. Yeah, I'm not going to tell you all the secrets of what I'm thinking.
But I'll tell you what, you need to get a good accountant.
The punchline. But awesome. So what else you want to talk about? Something else, is he? Anything else you guys want to talk about? Anything?
Are you looking at a business?
Yeah.
No, not really. Actually, I'm actually quite the opposite. I feel like the only business and the only avenue for me at the moment that I'm currently understanding is property.
Yes.
So the aim is to keep flipping property and sell, have a lot of investments.
Yes.
What I do want to end up doing, once I get to that point, is I want to be a farmer. And that's that's a business in itself.
Yeah,
but
I want to do the same, man. I've been talking about farms with my family for the last 10 years. So go to the farm, man.
Bit of common thing.
Yeah, but so you're always through earning income, basically. See, you do it through business to generate revenue to support your property portfolio. Where you're going to do it through income generation, which is, I think it's an easier way, to be honest. If I could go back, I would probably do it through income generation, build it through an employer. But they always say you can make more money through business.
Absolutely.
But property is a business, so if you can get it, I like the way you're doing it, because your age, you've got a good amount of time. 26, man, such a baby.
If I could go back.
What are we doing at 26, boys?
Oh, don't ask me.
At 26, James?
I want to know what all of you guys are doing at my age.
Not thinking about property. Definitely not thinking about property. But yeah. Well, in terms of, so you're in disability care, you're in finance. What other jobs did you do before you got into disability support?
Before disability, I was working for warehousing work. Just normal forklift driving and whatnot. And that was a good learning, because before that I was in sales as well.
Yes.
So I worked for a startup company. I worked for Groupon for a little bit.
Oh, you were sending me all those emails. I think I used one. Gone fishing or something. I don't know.
Yeah, before that I was in the tourism industry.
Oh.
Yeah, so straight out of school went and studied, and then out of the college they sort of picked us out and said, "Oh, you want a job?" And my first job, bro, they paid me 21 grand a year.
Wow.
And I
That's
thought
not
that was hell of a lot of money.
Yeah.
Bro, you know.
How old were you then?
18.
Yeah, wow. Yeah,
They
that's...
get you good.
Yeah, the 18-year-olds, they call me that. 21 grand is not all I'm getting.
That was my first job.
So I was getting $220 a week doing my apprenticeship.
Wow.
That's where you got to start. Sometimes
You gotta start somewhere, man.
I didn't finish that apprenticeship.
Just start, But you moved up the ranks pretty quick because I think sales, I think sales guys, if anyone's watching this, try sales, try get into sales, the earlier the better, if you can, if you're cut out for it. But I've seen a lot of guys who are in sales, when I do the home loans, and that sales is usually where top of the money's being made in the sales jobs.
Absolutely. I think, like on that, like so many of our Islander, brothers and sisters, they're actually really good at sales. I'm like, if you're ever in an argument and you've gotten your point across and they actually agree with you, guess what? That's sales. You've won them. So if it's just applying that same model and concept to work, this time getting paid for it. So it's possible, guys. Definitely.
Not the island force way.
That's it.
Yeah. But no, it's good. This is just the beginning of like these types of conversations, and it might feel awkward, or today might be, but it's good to have these conversations. I feel like, and James, I really feel like you could be the guy, bro, to be another another ambassador, man, because you articulate everything really well, and you got a really good grasp on.
Yeah. No,
I like the concepts, man. No, I feel like you should, man. You should really look. That is another business on your whatever you're doing. I think, and then you've got your your musician, your support, and your
No, I was just thinking the sky's the limit, you know, and we're only here for such a little period of time. We're not here forever. 100 years from now, people forget my name, but you got to leave like some sort of legacy for your kids. You know what I mean? And then maybe they'll remember their names. You know what I mean? And
our faith, it says that, right? And and most of us grew up in like the faith, right? So it's sort of like it all just goes together, but it's just acknowledging it and then applying it now, eh?
Man, like a lot of people think like, as a Christian, you got to be poor, you got to give everything away.
Yes.
Man, the Bible says to invest your money, bro. Save your money. So just got to be a lot more clever with, I guess, being financially literate, and then just think like generational wealth, think well ahead. It's not just you, even though you might be here for 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years, and then your kids will now take over. Like my kids will now, they'll be the ones wearing TNs running around. I always wanted TNs as a youngster.
Yes.
Never afford it. Straight to Payless, bro.
How spoiled are they these days?
But that's what I mean. Like when we leave today, how many times would we have a conversation like this? It's rare. Like it's good that you guys have you two, but who else would? Because I'm in the industry, but I know most guys as soon as they leave here, this conversation doesn't happen anywhere else. About business, about money, about generational wealth. So I don't know. How do we stay in that zone? We need a dose of this like twice a week or 3 times a week. It's just like food and training and exercise. But how do we keep getting doses of this?
You just got to start the convo, I guess. You know what I mean? You just got to make it a daily thing. I have a gun team at work, right? And every single one of them, I tell him, buy a house, bro. Don't sit around, man. You got to do this, you got to do that. It seems hard, but it's not as hard as you think it is. And just think well ahead. Think of your kids. Some of them don't have kids, and I said you're not going to not have kids forever. You know what I mean? Even if you don't end up having kids, but you set yourself up.
That's right.
For the future. So
I actually talk a lot to our youth group at church on property, not only just property, just financial literacy.
Bro, that's so good to hear, man.
You
Like I don't hear much of this that it's happening, but look, it's happening, bro. It's awesome.
It's happening.
Yeah.
And I think it gave us even more credit, when we actually got the property. They're like, oh, wow. A lot of people didn't believe that James could get property. They probably believe I could, but they didn't believe James could. And I think having that with our name, I've been able to help out the younger generation.
It gives you more credibility, right? So
absolutely.
credible,
But just keeping, like you mentioned, keeping them accountable. I think that's one of the biggest things. Asking them, how much did you save, this week? How much are you putting aside? I always say that to my little cousins, just to keep them thinking about
That's good. Keep doing that.
That's awesome. How are you doing that with the youth? Is it at church?
Yeah, it's the youth group at church. So we usually see them. I used to see them every Friday. It's been quite busy, but every opportunity I get to speak to them, I always bring it up.
Do you give a lesson to them or anything like that, or you sort of just sitting around having a chat?
Casual convo, just having a yarn.
No, that's fine.
We could get it more structured, I think, and get it more like the accountable. Make it more like have a rigid structure. So this becomes part of like the curriculum or the church study this week. Is part of it's the wealth, biblical wealth or church wealth or.
Well, I guess when you go to church with us, you go there, you get your tithe. But there was no other convo about
create more to tithe, eh?
Give 10% of your money, but it's like, where's the rest of the financial literacy?
Absolutely. I mean, I've always thought about like running, a financial workshop within my own church. It's your own group of people that you've been with for so long. I'd have to take that up with the pastor and the assistant pastor.
We could develop something. We could develop like a little curriculum that's easy, that's simple, that's just for the youth.
Absolutely.
To be good. Like that's why I mean, bringing groups together like this, like more like what you said. More people carrying the load. It's easier than one person.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Well, we're starting the convo. All good.
Yeah, that's it.
On that note.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. We're going to sign off for today, but we're going to do this again, man. This is just
thank you so much.
a warm-up.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us very much, boys. Thank you.
Thank you.
The Les Sweet Brothers. Thank you, boys.
Thank you.